On to match 3, we won match 1 against Tezzerator, we won match 2 against the Mirror. We're now we're on the draw, and we're going to keep a pretty good hand. We'd prefer if the Lotus Petal was a ritual or an LED, but beyond that, it's got more or less everything that we're looking for. So it's always good to have a couple of cantrips, and a piece of business, and 2 lands is nice. Probe's always handy, but not necessary. We think our opponent's on Infect, so we're going to probe this turn. And see Brainstorm, Fluster, Ponder, and a Scrub land. So probably not on Infect. Despite a very Infect-like start, the Scrubland makes me think he's a Deathblade deck of some sort. I probably want to shuffle that. We don't quite need that much extra business. Especially we don't need a Dark Petition without any rituals. The Brainstorm would be nice to have, but we already have one of them, and no more fetch lands. Our opponent's going to drop a Deathrite Shaman, so definitely on Deathblade of some form. And so they have Brainstorm, Ponder, Flusterstorm in hand. So Duress here will take Fluster for next turn. And we're brainstorming here in an effort to be somewhat mana efficient. However, I'm not entirely sure I agree with it. We're basically hoping to draw a ritual next turn so that we can just jam ad nauseum and go for it. Just because the Past and Flames killer is going to get a little bit harder with Deathrite Shaman. Unfortunately, that's left us Brainstorm locked. We did find Petition again, which might actually be beneficial in this particular case, as if we can find 2 rituals and 2 tutors, we're going to be in really good shape. So the reason we're going to be happy to see 2 rituals and 2 tutors is that Deathrite Shaman becomes a lot worse when he can't just, in your combo turn, when he can't just take like a single tutor and leave you stuck on cantrips. If you've got 2 tutors, 2 rituals, he instead does nothing else but, just you turn your extra tutor into more mana, or you just or you have an extra tutor, or you just down to 1 tutor. So it's not a real problem either way. We'll ponder here. Probe into Cabal Ritual is fantastic here, with a Brainstorm for next turn. If we can't go for it. What we really want to be doing here is going Probe into Cabal Ritual, cast Therapy, then cast the Cabal Ritual off the pedal, and I think that should get us very close to being able to kill them with Natural Storm. So we get to 7, 8, yeah, so we'd get a Natural Storm kill. Unfortunately, we see a Snapcaster Mage. So what we have to do instead is this turn, Therapy the Snap. We'll cast a Therapy to get the Snap out of their hand. And what we expect them to do here is to cast Snapcaster targeting Flusterstorm. If they do that, we're going to pass the turn. and then just try to go for it again next turn, either after brainstorming or not, depending on how we feel. I think we're probably correct to brainstorm. And our opponent actually makes a punt here by targeting Brainstorm instead of Flusterstorm. So this means if we actually name the true name Nemesis, we will get to kill them this turn, as they can no longer brainstorm into a Force of Will plus blue card. So our opponent's going to cast the Brainstorm now. This actually doesn't worry us, because from here he's got exactly one out, and that's to draw Force of Will. Oh, sorry, that's probably to draw Daze into Daze. Force of Will from here doesn't actually solve his problem, because once I resolve Therapy, that's the only card that I'm interested in naming. He's tapped out. He doesn't really have anything else he can do. The only two counter spells in the format are Force of Will and Daze. And I guess Mindbreak Trap, but we're not really going to expect to see that main very often. And we're not going to get fancy here with Petition into anything. We're just going to run the rest of it out and grab a Tutor into Tendrils. And we'll go to sideboard here, and we're going to have a very greedy sideboard plan. So we're doing something not dissimilar to what I do against Miracle. It's basically a combination of what I do against Miracles and Pile. The reason being, look, if he's playing a Stoneblade deck, he's probably got a little bit more counter magic than I'd expect out of Pile. And some of the weaknesses that I would expect from that deck to empty the Warrens, while having the weakness that I'd expect from Miracles to Xantid Swarm. We've also gone up to 61 cards because I just couldn't figure out what to cut. Now, one of the issues that we might have is we're not sure whether or not he's going to play Discard. We did see Scrubland, we did see Deathrite Shaman. Discard of some form is a real possibility. We're not going to dick about with basics here. If he's playing 4 colors, he probably doesn't play Wasteland. We're also going to definitely take this as, I think what we can do next turn, thinking about it, which I guess kind of makes sense. What we're looking at doing, what we'd really like to be able to do here is something like Duress into Xantid Swarm next turn, and then follow it the turn after with Ground Seal. And what this does is it just buys us a lot of time. Or it basically just means that on our combo turn he can't interact, and buys us a lot of time from Snapcaster and Deathrite activations and things like that. It's much harder for him to get his plan together when he's locked out of our graveyard, he's locked out of interacting with our graveyard, and he's locked out of interacting with us on our combo turn. So at that point he just has to try to put together a clock, and Stoneblade decks aren't typically renowned for having a good clock. Well, Duress, we're going to take Zealous Persecution, as that deals with both Empty the Warrens and Xantid Swarm. We're fetching Bayou here as now Xanted swarms down. No, we probably could have gone for Trot, but I think realistically we want to have lots of black open at all times, really. And I think from where we are at the moment, if we... Oh, okay, so it's going to wasteland us. And take us off blue. Which I think we can still deal with if we draw a ritual. So if we Xanted Swarm here, we could go something like... If we attack with a Xanted Swarm, we could get, what, 5, 6 goblin, storm count 6, 12 goblins into play. However, if we can wait a turn and draw into 2 more mana, we can actually just kill him. We're not in a rush. His clock is really slow at the moment. So the reason we need 2 more mana is at the moment we can Ritual, Petition, have 3 black floating after Petition, crack Petal for red, and we would wind up with Past in Flames and no mana left floating. If we had 1 more mana, we'd be able to get back up to 5, which is going to leave us 1 short for Petition for Tendrils. And Infernal Tutor actually gets us the win. So what we do now, if we didn't have the Lotus Petal, we wouldn't actually have the deterministic win here. Because we actually need the petal to be able to generate mana after we cast Past in Flames. So we're going to have 1 mana after Past in Flames. So Dark Petition will grab LED, play Petal and LED, tutor into Past in Flames, crack Petal for black, 1 black floating. Then we just use the tutor to generate the last piece of mana by grabbing another LED, or one of the tutors to do that. And once we cast this LED and the next tutor, so long as we don't misclick, that actually closes out the game. We'll move on to 3-0.